favorite jazz singer, female. Well, I have three of them: Ella, Billie Holiday, and Sarah Vaughan. These are the three greatest jazz singers in history. All the others are excellent, but they don't come up to the level of these three. And Sarah had the greatest vocal instrument that you could imagine. She was very deep. Well, she would go into the higher ranges, and it was so smooth and operatic in its feel. She was incredible and a lot of fun. She had a great sense of humor. There was a baseball game organized between the members of Count Basie's band and the waiters for Birdland in Central Park. And she came, and she was screaming and yelling, "That was a strike, you know, damn it all, you know, blah, blah, blah." And she was absolutely delightful as an individual. Okay. This is from a recording session for the Metronome All-Stars in 1949 with Parker, Lenny Tristano on piano, Herb Ellis. Was that Herb Ellis?
Billy Bauer.
That's Billy Bauer?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Billy Bauer and Eddie Safransky. Who spoke up there?
Glenn Dog.
Ah, well then you know it all.
My favorite picture.
Sometimes I think. Recording session, one light. And this is something that is, I found to be very critical in my work. I couldn't afford more than 2 lights, which was a blessing, because you had to be careful where that light was going to go. And once again, lucky, because with the strobe lights, there was no pilot light to indicate where it was going. You had to just estimate. So if you got it right, you were lucky. They were listening to a playback here. Okay? Onward. Tony Bennett, 1950, he was doing it wasn't a recording session, it was a, what's the word? A test? What?
Audition.
Oh, yeah, thank you. He was doing an audition for Columbia Records. I didn't tell him what to do. I never, ever, ever told the musician what to do. Move this way or turn around. Never. It's a matter of principle for me to record that person, not to record me as I changed it. This is a principle that I still stick to. Anyway, Tony has remained a friend, and he, alongside with Quincy, who I've known also, well, Quincy since 1947, are the 2 monumental giants of music whose personality was never altered by their fame. He is as gentle and nice and accommodating a person as you could come to meet. I'd meet him in New York, and we'd walk down the street, just the 2 of us. And no entourage. He doesn't have an entourage. I walked in on a concert that he was doing back in his dressing room, and he was ironing his suit. I said, "Don't you have somebody?" "No, I can do it." This is the way he is.
I can attest to that. I've had lots of contacts with Tony Bennett and through thick and thin. I remember in the 80s when his career was not yet high. Yeah,
That's the way
nothing got to his head.
That's the way he is. And I don't know about you, but I've hung around a lot of celebrities, and as a result, I've been, if you will, subjected to the same, or witnessing the pressures that they undergo.
Yeah.
Like you said, can we shoot the pictures and so on? He's accommodating. They are not all accommodating, because it's a pain in the ass to have 16 lenses in your face all the time. I mean,
Yeah,
I personally couldn't put up with it, but he and Quincy could do that. And they were relatively poor in the early part of their careers. They are now multimillionaires. Same thing for Quincy. No change in personality. Sweet, nice, unassuming. And that, I'm very impressed by that. Okay.
Long live Tony Bennett.
Yeah, and you'll be here, and I have to do pictures of him. What the hell am I going to do with him? You know, I mean, I really don't know. It's all going to have to be the spur of the moment, off the cuff, if you will. whatever the circumstances are, we'll deal with it. Here to, this guy, yeah, I guess of all the jazz musicians I've ever heard, he'll be the one to go with me to that desert island. I call Miles the Picasso of jazz, because he's gone through so many stages, just like Picasso. And each one was innovative, each one was rich in structure. He had a reputation of being very difficult, and he was, but I don't know why. Again, luck. We hit it off, and we remained friends over all those years, which gave me the opportunity, and I'll tell you that about that. Okay, go on to the next one. This was one of the last shots I ever did of him, if not the last shot I ever did of him, in '91 in Montreal. But he died 2 years later. But in this picture, was it 2 years? No,
It was about 2 years.
2 years, 3 months, was it?
Yeah,
3 or 4 months later.
that was in July.
6 months?
6 weeks.
Yeah, whatever.
That didn't fall, and this was in July.
That's right.
Yeah.
September. Yeah, he died. Yeah, that's
So
correct.
this is really 3 months before that.
And there was a rehearsal in the afternoon, and the photographers, our buddies there, maybe there were 50 of them on this set,
Oh, yeah, he got photographers.
and, the controller said, okay, you guys, that's it, out. So I got up with everybody else, started over, and he said, Herman stays. I couldn't believe it, neither could all my colleagues. They were very upset that they couldn't stay. But as a result of that privilege, I got this picture. And this, to me, I don't know, and I don't care what you think about it, is one of the more powerful portraits I've ever done. Because I know the history of the man, I know the emotional content of this shot. He is beautiful. The structure of his face, the quality of his skin, I call it like black satin. And the intensity of the expression in his eyes. He knew he was dying. In fact, when he got to the concert hall in Montreal, he had to be helped on the stage. He was frail. Were you there?
No, but I have the video, and I know that the Wallace Roney was standing by to...
Wallace is sitting just like you are.
Yeah.
And they played I don't know why they chose it, they chose Sketches of Spain.
Yeah.
The Churches and
The first time they accepted to look back and do older stuff with Quincy directing what...
But that one they've never done in public.
Yeah.
They'd only done it in a recording session and never performed it afterwards. And here they imposed that on him.
It was a huge concession for him. It's not something that he was
Tremendous.
limited.
And very difficult passages
Yeah.
that he had. And that's why Wallace Roney was sitting there. And he filled in those difficult passages. It was beautiful. Close your eyes, you couldn't tell the difference. Okay. Oh, by the way, that last shot for you guys, high speed, 3200, whatever it was, Tri-X or whatever it was, pushed to 6400 and no grain. Don't ask me how, because normally when you push a film, you get a lot of grain, but that one worked. This is 4x5. That's the only camera I had in the beginning. Some of the very early shots were done with the speed graphic, which ain't easy, as you're walking around here with cameras and shoot 1,000 pictures in a little box. And I had this big thing. If I went to a club with a speed graphic with the film holders, each film holder would hold 2 sheets. I could carry maybe 20 film holders, and that was a bulk. And that's it. So you had to be very careful when you snap that button, because you don't have unlimited film. But here, again, 2 lights. These are strobes. These are my strobe lights. One up in the ceiling on him, and the other behind him. And it worked. And I used that type of light a lot, because it seemed to capture some of the atmosphere of the club. Okay. In the previous shot, he was playing a straight horn. You see these, look like they've been in an automobile accident.
Yeah.
What happened was that he put his horn on the chair and somebody sat on it and bent it. He picked it up and played it, and he liked the sound. And he kept the shape, and he had his horn manufacturer make all the horns for his band in this fashion. But what he liked about it, you know, very often when the musicians are playing, the microphone is here, they're standing, but the music is down there, not here. So they've got to bend down. He could bend down, but the horn was still at the microphone. And that was one of the reasons he liked it. Quincy Jones on the far right. Carl Warwick, I'm reading because I don't know all the names. E.B. Perry, Joe Gordon, and Dizzy. Dizzy became, outside of Quincy, my closest jazz friend. Go figure, I don't know, we just hit it off. But he was delightful. He had a great sense of humor. He was a tremendous humanitarian. He was a member of the Baha'i faith, everybody's a brother. And he used to counsel the musicians after a gig. He would do a gig and at 1 in the morning it'd be over. Instead of going home and go to bed, he'd go back in the green room and sit for 2 or 3 hours to talk to the musicians who were on drugs, to try to get them off. This is the kind of dedication he had. Okay. Kenny Clark. 2 lights, okay? You can do a lot with 2. What appeals to me, and this incidentally for photography, this 4x5 big graphic, it is an impeccable negative. It is a perfect negative in terms of exposure and values. A straight print, you got it. You don't have necessarily any control at all. So it means a lot to me, this particular image. And Kenny, great bebop jazz drummer, we got friends in New York, and then he came to Paris when I was still there, and he stayed. He lived in Paris for many years. Okay? Dexter?
My shirt, that's my shirt.
Is that your shirt?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean?
What a
Yeah.
good picture.
This is one of the better known shots. I think it's because of all that smoke, but I think I can understand how a human being could contain that much smoke in its lungs. Blew it out of there. I had to do a shot for an ad in England later on, setting this exact scene up with a model. Saxophone, the hat, the whole thing. And I gave him a cigarette and said, you know, let it out, but it just didn't come out right. The smoke disappeared pretty quickly. It didn't hover in the air. So the only way I could get this smoke in that subsequent shot was by using incense, which had a heavier content to it, and it stayed in the air. Okay? This is a shot that I never really printed very much because when I looked at it, it's okay, it's a singer and the audience and everything, but no great smoke, no drama, no special lighting. But look at Duke Ellington in that expression of reverence that he has for the great singer, Ella Fitzgerald. And behind him is Benny Goodman. Now, I used to say that this was shot in 1949, but there's a guy behind Duke on the other side who I'm told died in 1948. Now, how did I get this in 1949, right? So that's a mistake, but I made a lot of mistakes like that.